If you're selling people all the time and you're pitch slapping them because as soon as you meet somebody, you're telling them about your product before really learning about them, then you're going to repel people because you've got that commission breath coming off and they can smell it.
If you're adding value, if you have something that you know is going to benefit your customer, it is your job, it is your duty to help them see that.
The reality is if you serve, not sell, then people are raving about you because they can feel that you care. And then they'll share that you care with others.
Hello, and welcome to the Liberty Spenders podcast. We are your hosts, Kurt and Kristen Luthart, co-founders of the Prosper Group, an agency that's helped raise over $500 million and help elect over 100 members of Congress, 15 governors, 15 U.S. senators, and 1 president. And now, in addition to helping political candidates get elected, we're helping your business get elected by answering this question. What if you could exponentially grow your business by tapping into a lucrative and engaged audience that we call Liberty Spenders? Now, Liberty Spenders make up roughly 40% of the country. They're politically conservative or faith-based consumers, and they're looking to buy from businesses and brands that align with their values. And you can learn more about that right now by getting our best-selling free book at libertyspenders.com/free.
We're really excited today, Kristen, to have Brandon Barnum on the show.
Yes, we are.
Brandon and I have spent some time together, both in Zooms and our first in-person meeting in Scottsdale last week. Brandon is a serial entrepreneur and the CEO of HOA.com, which I've taken a look at and is awesome as the #1 referral network for home service professionals. Brandon was an early tech innovator featuring real estate property listings from realtors he partnered with and promoted. After learning the art and science of referrals, he increased his annual income 10 times from $20,000 to $200,000 in just 18 months.
Not bad.
Yes, wrote a book about referrals, which we're going to talk about a ton today. And he's also closed over $500 million in transactions by referral and has founded multiple local and online referral platforms and networks, connecting more than 5 million members in 195 countries. Brandon, we're excited to have you on.
Yes,
Thanks
welcome.
for having me. Happy to be here, Kurt and Kristen.
Yeah.
I'm a little jealous too, because didn't you just meet? You guys actually just met, last week at an event?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We had a long, I guess it wasn't coffee, because I had soda. We had a long soda and talked about a couple of Brandon's projects, HOA.com, which we'll get into, and the Christian Business Alliance, which is really cool, and also his book. But before we get into all that cool stuff, I also know you've got an amazing story of how you got from where you were to where you are now. And I wanted to see if you could rewind back to your early career and talk about what life was like then and how did all this get started?
Oh, you bet. The origin story, right? Yeah, you know, it started back in college, as some good stories often do. And
yes.
I found out in college that you don't have to be married to have a kid. So at 22, I was a father, and at 24, I was a single dad. I got custody, full custody of my 2-year-old son at that point, and I was only making about $20,000 a year. And I had to make a change because I started bouncing my mortgage payments, and as soon as I had to pay for daycare also. And so I ended up getting into the mortgage business, and I had somebody mentor me in the art and science of what I now call raving referrals. And I was able to 10x my income from $20,000 a year to $200,000 a year in 18 months. And then really took that, and over the last almost 3 decades, hard to believe that,
it doesn't show. It doesn't show, Brandon.
Thank you. Well, I've just been focused on helping as many people as I can create that financial freedom for themselves by creating partnerships and more referrals for their business.
Yeah, I remember getting out of college, and my first job, I made $24,000 a year.
Woo.
I distinctly remember thinking,
I know, big money.
How am I going to spend all this money? Right? Like it's just unlimited, $24,000. And then it goes fast, particularly when you're a kid. What made you start? I mean, what were you doing at the time? Were you, what was your job? How did you get into kind of real estate?
When I got custody of my son, I was working as a marketing director for an estate planning law firm. So we had 11
Hmm.
offices, and I would run the ads in the newspapers, on the radios. And it was a really cool job because my boss was being mentored by Jay Abraham, which is one of the
Ah,
gurus in
Oh,
marketing.
yeah.
And
love
so my
Jay. He's
day,
amazing.
incredible, incredible. And so I'm reading Dan Kennedy every day, like
Mm,
all his direct mail stuff. And this is
hmm
back in 1995, right? So
Hmm.
30 years ago. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic. Gary Halbert on direct mail. So I'm reading all these copy
hmm
strategies and how to really sell through the mail at that point because the internet really hadn't been created. And so it was a fascinating job, but that's what I was doing when I got custody.
Well, some great people to learn from.
Oh,
Again, I still recommend Dan Kennedy's stuff and his teachings. It's very relevant. And
absolutely.
Jay Abraham, just genius, absolute genius. So you had some great influences early on.
It was fun. My boss was actually being personally mentored by Jay. So Jay took him on as a private client and was working with him. And so the reason I took the job is when I interviewed with the attorney, because I wasn't excited about the legal business, but he said, look, this is not a law firm. This is a marketing agency. And I went, huh? So it got my attention. He said, what we do is we do these lunch and learns. And at that point, they were doing them a lot at the buffets, right? King's Table, Country Kitchen, that sort of thing. And so we would market to seniors and have them come in, we'd feed them lunch, and then over 60 to 90 minutes, we'd educate them about probate and the fact that they might need a living trust. And so that was really the focus of the engine. I learned so much in that role, both about marketing and the power of events, but then also about legal structures and estate planning. It was just fascinating. But then, when I got custody, I just couldn't afford to stay there any longer. So I had to brave a new path, and mortgage was it.
Yeah. Well, thank God that we aren't doing lunch and learns as primary marketing, particularly at buffets. I'd have a bigger weight problem than I have now. So maybe that's good that we aren't doing that stuff anymore, or maybe we should.
I teach it honestly. So with the raving referral system, we have certified trainers and we have a continuing education course, right? Raving referrals for real estate agents, where we have mortgage lenders and insurance agents that want to be in front of rooms full of realtors. So we empower and equip them with our content. They're able to give our class, which is awesome. So we've got these classes happening around the US, and we're basically helping the people help the people that they want to win more business with. And I tell you what, the power of events shouldn't be overlooked. It should be part of your marketing mix potentially.
Yeah, I side with you. I think Kurt, discipline is what
Maybe it
you
just
need.
needs to be vegan buffets or something.
Well, you don't have to feed people. I mean, we
Yeah.
provide some snacks at our continuing education events, so we don't do lunch anymore. But you've got to have a reason for them to come. You got to have something of value. So we're creating a new thing now. We call the Certified Referral Champion designation. And so instead of doing the CE course, because those can be very restrictive, we're going to certify people as referral champions.
Mm,
I love that. And you know what I think is really great that anybody listening should not overlook is that directive. We are not a law firm. We are a marketing agency or a marketing firm, or I forget your exact wording. But what's great about that, so many businesses, you know, we don't like marketing. We don't like sales. It just feels icky. I have had those feelings. And so I can absolutely relate and have empathy. But again, if you're adding value, if you have something that you know is going to benefit your customer, it is your job, it is your duty to help them see that, not in a, forceful way, but I mean, if you believe in what you're doing, marketing is how you are honest to that calling. And so I think that's fantastic. And it's the fuel of every business. And when you find that they're struggling, they say, I have this great product or service nobody's buying. Well, maybe because not enough people know about it, right? You're not finding compelling ways to add value first in order for them to see what you have to offer. So again, what a great lesson early on. And for anybody still in business as a reminder that we can always have that mentality.
Kristen, this is such an important part, and I hope everybody leans in and listens to what I'm about to say, because what you just touched on is critical. And it's all about the mindset that we have, right? So when we're thinking about serving people, then we're giving, we're not taking, right? It's really comes down to the energetics of it. If you're selling people all the time and you're pitch slapping them because as soon as you meet somebody, you're telling them about your product before really learning about them, then you're going to repel people because you've got that commission breath coming off and they can smell it and they can feel it. And then they pull back, they're repelled by you. But instead, if you serve, not sell, then people are leaning in because you're just focused on helping them solve their challenges and improve their lives.
Yeah, it's game changing to change your mindset in that way.
And I heard two diagnoses in there. So we've commission breath. We've all
Yeah.
experienced that, right? What was the pitch?
Pitch
Pitch slap.
slapping.
Pitch slapping.
Pitch slap.
Pitch slapping.
You go to a networking event and somebody hands you a business card, they shove it in your face before they've even asked you anything about yourself. That's pitch slapping.
I like that.
P with a P, Kurt.
Yeah. Is that is that TM trademarked Brandon Barnum raving referrals?
No, but I say it often enough. It should be.
That's the first time I've heard it, but it's also we've also had that experience. I think that's why some people think that they don't like sales because they think that's what you're supposed to do.
That's right.
So they've all experienced it. They think, okay, that's what a good salesman does. He's always, working it. And I don't want to be that person, so I don't want to sell. And in reality, what in my experience, the people who I find are the best salesmen are the people you almost don't know that they're selling anything.
Right.
It just kind of
They're going to give instead of going to get.
yeah.
That's it. That's it. Don't sell. What if you never felt like you were selling? What if instead you were just focused on serving the other person? And what would that do? We talk about raving referrals. The reality is if you serve, not sell, then people are raving about you because they can feel that you care. And then they'll share that you care with others.
Yeah, there's that authenticity in there that you can't deny. And people can smell that a mile away. They can just tell. We have a very strong BS meter in what we read online. Trust is low. And so doing those things authentically is the key.
Well, I like it. And I'll have Kristen make sure to keep her eyes out if I ever have commission breath. She does the other breath thing on the regular. I know when she hands me something like, "Hey, I just had a piece of gum. Would you like one?" That's the nice way of saying you really need one. So maybe we need a code like that for commission breath.
Something to think about.
Something to think about. I like it. So you were doing the marketing for the law firm. You needed to leave there. Did you go directly into kind of the real estate space and start this connecting that you were talking about and we were talking about in your bio?
I didn't. First, I took a turn in direct marketing and network marketing, and I left the law firm and I had an opportunity to start with a company that was just getting started. So I was hungry and I ended up becoming the top salesperson in the organization. But it was taking me around too much and I just needed to be home to my son. So I did that for about a year and then I got into the mortgage business.
Yeah. Well, let's see. That would have been so. You'd probably been in and out of the mortgage business before 2008 hit.
Well, so I started in 1997 and I started my own company in 2002 called Integrity Lending. And then I formally closed down Integrity Lending in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. So you got to experience the highs and lows of the whole thing.
Oh, that was brutal. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I can only imagine. And was that when you first started building out what was now your kind of raving referrals process and your rules? Was that part of how you grew your mortgage business?
Yeah, well, it started absolutely with what I call referral partnerships. And a lot of people might be familiar with that term. And what I did is I went out and I asked all the top earning people, both in the mortgage and the real estate industry, what was the secret to their success? And they all said the same thing, which is referrals. So as I dug deeper into that and said, okay, referrals from who and how do you create that? And there's no classes for referrals, which is crazy to me. I went to business school and never once did I hear the word referrals, even though if you're in B2B sales, 84% of B2B sales start with a referral. And people are 400% more likely to hire you if you get recommended to them. So it's this foundational thing in business, and yet I never heard it once in business school. Now, fast forward to today, the good news is I was just on with a global university that's interested in taking our content worldwide on their platform. So my goal is for this to be taught in every university. In fact, I'm teaching tomorrow at Grand Canyon University here in Phoenix.
Well, that's amazing. And you're absolutely right. You know, I sometimes joke, I don't know what they're teaching in business schools these days. I don't think it was ever mentioned. I took a few business classes. I have a political science degree. Thank God I took a few business classes because I ended up doing more business and politics. But that was not a topic that came up.
Mm-mm.
I think we're all trained to be mid-level managers at some Fortune 500 manufacturer and not what it takes to run your own business. And our business in politics grew almost entirely through referrals.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, just going around and meeting people. All of our biggest, craziest campaigns came that way. I still remember our very first ever. Giant campaign in 2010. We got a referral from a gentleman we met at a networking event for what we thought was going to be a $2,500 website. And we figured, why not? You know, we're upstarts and we need to do some work outside of our home state. This was a Massachusetts political campaign. And he referred us into that. And that turned into $500,000. I don't know what we ended up building. We raised $14 million online for this candidate, and all from a referral of a guy we met at a networking event. So
yeah, that's a lesson on referrals and a lesson on grace at the same time, because
yes, hey, those are valuable.
We didn't deserve any of that, but we're happy, we were grateful for the blessing. But yeah, it was an absolute roller coaster.
It's interesting. I often will ask people, think about the best clients that you've ever had. Where do they come from? And almost all of the time they came from referrals, right? Because what happens is when someone is referred, it's kind of like manufacturing trust. There's a trust transfer that takes place from the person that knows them to you. And so that person comes in. Referred clients are 16% more profitable overall because the trust is there from the get-go. So they spend more money with you, they stay with you longer, and they refer others to you. So birds of a feather flock together, and the more referrals you can get, the better life you're going to have.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you also related to that is when I think back to my biggest clients, very few of them did I ever actually do a presentation and a pitch to, because that they came in via referral.
Right.
The ones that do the big RFP process where they get 150 submissions from people all over the country are generally a waste of my time. I can count on one hand over 20 years the amount of that kind of business we earned from folks. But the referral business, we close almost all of them. And so it's a powerful strategy.
Yeah. So I want to get into this more. So you've got your book, Raving Referrals. We know it's helped countless professionals. And we've talked a little bit about what led you to get there. And Kurt, this is a good chance we can flash it on camera for anybody who's watching. But you had this aha moment. What is that then led you to say, I've got to write this book? I need to document what I've learned. And I need to share this with others.
Yeah, you bet. So after 12 years in the mortgage industry, doing $500 million in transactions, I'm like, this is really liberating. I mean, talk about Liberty Spenders. It's liberating for professionals. And so we need to get this out to more people. So I started building tech. My first tech platform was back in 1997. I built kind of an early version of Zillow because I could see where the future was going. I was in the mortgage business. And so I created a website back in Portland, Oregon that featured home listings. And then I would go out to different realtors and feature their home on pdxhome.com. And so I learned to give first. And by starting by giving and adding their listing onto pdxhome.com, I was able to earn their trust, earn their business. And so then I wanted to teach that strategy to others. And so in 2010, we started a company called trustedteam.com. And it was a tech platform that helped people to create a profile about themselves, but also the left side was about them. The right side was their trusted team. So for me in the mortgage business, I got a lot of business from realtors, financial planners, insurance agents, attorneys, and then contractors, painters, plumbers, and all those people that were clients that would run into somebody that was fixing up their house or buying or selling and they needed help with their mortgage. So I would solve the challenges that their clients had. And so in 2010, I created this tech platform to help people kind of formalize that process. In 2014, I merged Trusted Team with another tech platform and we created refer.com. And then we built that up to 5 million members in 195 countries, including 250,000 realtors. And so that was just an amazing experience to help so many people boost their business by referral.
Well, not only that, but the power of partnerships, mentioning about, I mean, I don't know who, but those things, again, you cannot be understated. And I love the emphasis. We talk about this a lot, but related industries, right? This can be applied to anybody right now in your business. Tangentially related industries, who shares your customer? What are the relationships that you can build with people that are adjunct related, so that you guys can share in that trust building together?
It's huge. It's huge. We teach it as the referral partner blueprint. And you can go to hoa.com/blueprint and you can download really what you're talking about right now, Kristen, which is the process. Number one, who do you partner with? Number two, how do you do it? And then number three, what do you do? So it all starts with identifying other businesses or professionals that are already serving your perfect prospects. You guys are doing this at Liberty Spender. If you've got somebody that's got a conservative Christian client and that's the center of your bullseye, look for other companies that are serving the same and have complementary products and services. You want to solve their challenges. And when you partner, my mentor says 1+1 = 11. We were just on the phone yesterday, Mark Victor Hansen. And I had him in studio Monday shooting video for us for HOA.com. But what I learned from Mark is that power of partnerships. And when you identify who's already serving your perfect prospect, and then you approach them saying, I have a lot of clients that could use your help. I'd like to sit down with you and talk about building a referral partnership where a client for one becomes a client for everyone. And most people are super interested in that. And then what we teach them to do is we have 21 different co-marketing campaigns. How do you cross promote each other? Podcast is one of them, right? If you've got a podcast, invite them on. You're gaining exposure to their community while they're getting exposure to yours. It's a win-win. And there's 21 different ways like that that you can help each other grow your business. And most of them don't cost a dime.
Yeah, I found that really fascinating part of the book, and it's kind of related to one of the laws I loved the most, which was the more you give, the more you receive, and the idea that look, there are a lot of different ways we can work together. I can give you an appearance on your my podcast, or I can give you this, and the power of doing things like that is high, right?
It's huge.
Do you
I
have
mean, Kurt,
do you have a favorite law?
well, that one's my favorite. I mean, number
Ah,
one, back in Oregon, my license plate was give more. So that's really what I teach is who I am. I just love it. I mean, Kurt, you and I had just recently met and started a conversation. And I got to give to you and introduce you to the potential governor of Arizona. And I love that
yes,
opportunity where I could connect you because not only was it benefiting you, but it was benefiting her as well. And so that's the beauty of giving referrals is you're adding value to two different people. And then after that, every time they connect, they'll usually talk about you.
yeah. Well, and hopefully it'll be a benefit to the people of Arizona as well. We'll see.
That's right.
Rah rah. Uh, and you're absolutely right. I love doing this. It's one thing I really enjoy doing. I love making connections with people, and more often than not, they pay off at some point or another. But that's not the only reason to do it, right?
No.
Right.
It's the joy of connecting people can sometimes. I love it when I get a call and say, "Boy, you connected me with this person, and we've really hit it off, and really enjoyed talking with each other." And so it's absolutely powerful, this idea of giving more. And it in some respects it's intuitive, but in other respects it feels like, well, I'll give later when I'm in abundance, right?
Mhm.
That's my own habit sometimes. So, whether it's giving to a charity or whatever, I think, well, one day Kristen and I will be worth, a gajillion dollars, and that's when we'll do it. Right.
Yeah.
And, but giving now, is important, I think.
Absolutely.
And rewarding.
Yeah, we learned that lesson long ago.
So yesterday I was on with Mark Victor Hansen for 45 minutes. Mark wrote all those Chicken Soup for the Soul books along with Dr. Jack Canfield. And I was talking to Mark because we had him in studio shooting some video, and I'm going to bring him back and we're going to capture some of the Chicken Soup for the Soul stories on video. And the other thing is Mark's written a book called The Miracle of Tithing. My pastor was just talking about tithing on Sunday, right? And tithing is obviously giving 1/10 of your earnings to your local church or organizations that you support. And what's interesting is it really is an act of faith, right? We're believing that God's going to bless us and return abundance on us. And so the pastor was talking about, how big of a blessing do you want? Do you want a 5% blessing, a 10% blessing? And he's like, look, I'm not just doing this for the benefit of the church. This is really because I believe this is going to unlock abundance in your life and God's favor. And it really is true. But Mark said, I want to do a new version of this called the Miracle of Giving. And I literally have on my to-do list today is to call up Mark and go, hey, Mark, let's do that book together. So that's what I'm believing, is that we're going to create this new book called The Miracle of Giving. And I'll do it with Mark Victor Hansen as the co-author.
Well, that'll be great. And we'll have you both on the podcast to talk about the book when you get it written.
All right, let's go.
And that'll be a way we can help each other. The other thing I really liked that you talked about is this concept of the art of the ask.
Oh yeah.
And I think again, the moment you say ask, there's a little like thing that goes up on my back. My hairs go up because I start feeling afraid, right? And I'm going to ask for something. Maybe they won't give it to me. Maybe I won't do it right now. Embarrass myself. And even as somebody who's sold, and run a business for 20 years, the moment I think, okay, it's time to make the ask. The whole it's like the temperature in the room drops. You
feel anxiety, right?
Yeah. Talk about how you think about it when you talk about the art and science of the ask.
Yeah. The art of the ask, it really starts with the mindset shift, just like we were talking about earlier. It's not about selling anyone on anything. It's really about serving them. And the art of the ask helps people feel comfortable and confident asking for referrals, because most people don't ask. And if you don't ask, you don't get. Because the other person's not thinking about, they can't read your mind. They don't know what's on your heart. So they may happen to give you a referral. But if you want to increase the number of referrals and the amount of business that you get, then use the art of the ask. There's 3 steps. You start off with setting the stage, and then you listen for referral triggers, which is step 2. And then step 3 is you ASK to GET. So let me unpack this for you. And step 1 is the most important, setting the stage. Again, we're not selling, we're serving. And so in that first meeting, the clients decided to hire you. They've either signed the agreement or said they're moving forward. What you want to do before you let them leave the room or leave Zoom is say, before I let you go, can I ask you a quick favor? They'll always either say yes or maybe tell me more, right? Nobody's going to say no. So sure, absolutely. Okay. I am so committed to helping people like you have a 5-star experience, because I love helping business owners, homeowners, whoever that client type is that you're looking to attract. You want to claim it there. I love helping people like this have a 5-star experience. So once I've served you and really given you a 5-star experience, would it be okay to ask for referrals or a testimonial later on? Now, they'll all say yes. Because what have you done? You haven't put them on the spot. Nobody's feeling uncomfortable. You're basically doubling down on your commitment to create a 5-star wow experience for your clients, which is what they want to hear. I'm going to do a great job for you. Okay, sure. You do a great job for me. I'll be happy to refer you to other people. So you'll get 100% buy-in on this question. Kurt, does that feel like selling anybody anything?
Oh, that seems not at all.
Right?
You're really just setting them up, like you said.
Well, you're serving them. It's not even a setup. It is a setup a little bit strategically, but it's really about serving them. And when you come from that energy, that vibration of service, people can feel it, they can sense it, and they're happy to agree to it because you're not putting them on the spot first, right? So that's setting the stage. Now, you will get some referrals right then and there because somebody's going to say, oh, my brother, cousin, sister, aunt, client, coworker actually was telling me they need to hire a realtor and they don't know who to use, or find a business coach or a marketing company, whatever that is that you provide. So you'll find that you get some referrals right away because you're kind of asking in advance, but you're really setting the stage. So that's step one, set the stage. Step two is to listen for the referral triggers. And if you do your job well, you actually get them to tell you, wow, at some point, right? Or thank you so much. This is so awesome. You guys have done such a great job. You've helped me make so much money, save so much time, look great, feel great. Whatever it is, that's the outcome of the service that you provide. You want to wow them with that service and really create that 5-star experience. Once you hear that expression of appreciation, that thank you, that wow, that step two is listening for the referral triggers. Now you go into step three, which is to ASK and GET. And yet again, it doesn't feel like selling because it's not selling, it's serving. What you want to say as soon as you hear wow is, I'm so glad to hear that. Remember at the beginning, we first started working with you, I said that I love helping people like you get amazing results. And now that you've experienced the service that we provide and have had this positive success story, I'm looking to take on 2 to 3 more clients and help other families or business owners. Again, you're describing your perfect prospect then. Is there anyone you know that I might be able to assist and to serve? Now, you're not selling anyone. You're simply offering to serve both them and the people they care about. So it feels natural. You should feel comfortable and confident saying that because you're really just saying, I'm going to wow you with my service.
This is such powerful stuff. And again, the entire time it's built on success. It's built on you have to do well for that client in order for this cycle to continue. And so this is just amazing. I think it's great that you've laid this out for people. We encourage everybody to check it out. This is great stuff, Brandon.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely. We'll put a link to the book in the show notes for those of you listening here now, really wanting to learn more. And I'd recommend it because I've got one of my own. I've got an hour and a half, 2-hour airline flight coming up, and it looks perfect for an airline flight. So just a suggestion.
It's a quick read. And here's the thing is much of this, but the question is, are you practicing it? We have a referral score quiz that we take people through. Actually, it's referralscorequiz.com. People can go and take it. It takes about 60 seconds. And you self-rate yourself on the top 10 referral best practices. And what happens is it helps people identify the blind spots in their business. I was just up in Denver speaking in an audience, and a 1-hour talk. We start with the referral score quiz to help people really identify what they score in. And what's amazing is as they self-score themselves on how would clients rate your services, most people get pretty high on that on a scale of 1 to 10. But the overall score on this quiz is 37 out of 100. And what that means is for most people, there's a lot of room for improvement. And once you're aware of it, now there's no more blind spot. Now you know, and now you can improve it. And usually you can improve it instantly.
Well, that reminds me of what was that old ABC, CBS, NBC used to do those, the more you know.
Oh, yes.
Right. So the more you know, there's a famous actor before that, but that works. When I first was introduced to you,
Yeah.
it was because, the person who referred me to talk to you was really excited about HOA.com,
Yeah.
which is a new thing you're working on, which, you and I've talked about as a way to change the way the world HOAs. And as a member of an HOA, I was very curious about it, and you've talked me through it. And it sounds like a really exciting product, which in an interesting way kind of incorporates everything you've just talked about.
Everything.
In a cool platform, including some of your previous enterprises. So explain to the uninitiated what HOA.com is, what you're trying to build there, and how it benefits people.
Absolutely. So HOA.com is changing the way that the homeowner association industry works. The reality is that 53% of all homeowners in the US live in an HOA, but most don't love their HOA. In fact, usually I hear even stronger sentiment. So we're on a mission to change all that and create unity through community. We do that through two sides. We have a software platform and an AI to help better manage the community. So for the HOA boards or the professional management companies, we have a software application, and we also have an AI community concierge that the AI takes phone calls from homeowners, and it knows all the CC&Rs and the bylaws and the rules and regulations, and it answers the homeowner's questions instead of a homeowner sending an email that doesn't get answered for 1, 2, 5, 10 days, right? This gives them the instant answers, and it also reduces the load on the HOA itself. So that's part of it, is the software to improve how HOAs serve their homeowners. But the real core of it is on the pro network side, right? I took, you're absolutely right, Kurt. I took everything that I've learned from 12 years in the mortgage industry, from Trusted Team, from Refer.com, and we built it into a community co-marketing engine. And so we say it's kind of like Nextdoor meets Angie's List meets Zillow. Nextdoor, because we have community pages for every HOA in America. It's becoming the community hub, one place for your neighborhood to connect and to find out what's going on in the HOA. Angie's List, because we do background checks, and then we curate 5-star pros. And so we recommend the pros that serve that local market. For them, we teach them hyper local social farming, how to really get connected in the community so that you become famous and everybody knows you, likes you, trusts you, and hires you. And then the last part is the Zillow. So we have a home safe report. And what is so cool about what we're doing is professionals have a profile that's about them, but the profile also includes their trusted team. So a realtor might have their mortgage lender, their home inspector, their insurance agent, their interior designer, their roofer, their painter, their plumber, and all of those people work together as one team. So they're scouting for business for each other, but they're also serving each other's clients and helping clients get access to the people that they need. So homeowners can manage their trusted team on HOA.com, and pros can do that as well. So we help them cross market each other, because then once they upload their homeowner database into our CRM, we send out that home safe value report. So every month homeowners get a report of your value's gone up or it's gone down. Here's what's happening, the latest news and events that are happening around your local community. So it's really a community hub. And then we wrap it all into this whole concept of unity through a community by helping those professionals put on community impact events in the local neighborhood. And that could be a barbecue, an ice cream social, Easter egg hunt, all kinds of fun activities that are fun, family forward, and that bring the community together.
So, Brandon, if you're seeking to grow this, who exactly are you trying to get to sign up? Are you trying to talk to people and get them to convert how they're handling their HOA now? Are you going to the home professionals? Clarify that a little bit for those of us
Yeah,
listening.
you bet. So we have two different targets. One is we're introducing the industry's first certification for HOA expertise in the real estate industry. It's called the Certified HOA Specialist designation. So we have a 4-hour online course where realtors, who are the center of our bullseye because they serve these local neighborhoods, and the best realtors, they do something called farming, right? Where they market to a neighborhood to all the homeowners over and over again, because the fortune's in the follow-up. So you got to keep your brand on other people's brains. And when you remarket to the same people, over time, you win trust. So we focus on realtors on the pro side, and they become a certified HOA specialist by going through our 4-hour course, learning everything there is to know about serving HOA communities. And then this helps them win more listings in top HOAs. So that's our first target. But on the HOA side, there are 7,000 community management companies that manage 65% of all the HOAs. So we're targeting those 7,000 community management companies because they sort of manage the industry overall. So two targets. On the pro side, it's realtors first and foremost. Once they come on, then they invite their trusted team. They invite all the other home service pros because they've been giving referrals for years. They just don't get many back. Our system helps them formalize those partnerships and then create proactive partners for their business.
That's great. And as if you have nothing else going on, I know you're also working on a ministry to help Christian business owners called the Christian Business Alliance. So, what inspired this? What progress have you made? And then who do you want to help?
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. So several years ago, actually 15 years ago, I was in a Christian CEO group and we met once a month for 6 hours. There were 12 of us, CEOs or business owners. It was led by a Christian business coach and it was called Vision to Action. And we met once a month for 3 years, getting together and just building relationship, but just going through life together and talking about what the issues that we face in our business. And it made such an impact on me. And what we see is a major gap in the church. When I go to church, money is very rarely talked about and business is never spoken, right? So pastors don't talk about business. There's really a gap in the church in this place called marketplace ministry. Those of us who are business owners, we have a ministry that we're running, right? We have employees, we have vendors, partners, all of these people that we influence. And as Christians, we want people to stand up and be a leader that inspires others. And so, what we also want them to do is to get connected with others that are serving the same. As we talked about the perfect partnerships, well, why not partner with other Christians, other believers in business? And so, what we've done with the Christian Business Alliance is we've created a new model where churches can start a chapter. And usually it happens like a business coach says, I want to bring this to my church, right? Or somebody within the congregation takes it to the pastor, they approve it because it's kind of like a financial peace university where it's an outside third party organization. And then what we do is facilitate fellowship of believers in business. It's basically a small group, a life group of business owners or business professionals that meet at the church either once a week, once every 2 weeks, or once a month. It's up to them. We allow the church, the chapter leader to decide, but we launched it a little over a year ago. So far, we have 113 chapters in 20 countries, and we're believing that God's going to 10x that this year and the next year and the next year, and that we'll have 100,000 chapters with over 1 million members by the end of 2027.
Well, it's an amazing goal. And we have talked to so many people who have noticed the same gap and are trying to address it. And so we absolutely should connect you to a number of these individuals because the mission is the same, and how you go about it. There's so many similarities. And so I think it's great you've identified this. We've talked about this a lot ourselves because, again, it can get sensitive if you're really trying to share and you're doing life. And we're a part of an amazing, amazing life group at our church. Dear brothers and sisters who we love. And I know even with that trust built, sometimes if you're trying to share some struggles on a business level, it's not that they couldn't hear it or provide support. But there's just this level of understanding that's different when you're speaking to somebody else who's been on that same journey. And that's the same for any kind of specific need. Before I became a parent, I could be an empathetic ear to somebody else going through parenting challenges with their kids, but I couldn't fully relate without having experienced that, not in the same way. And so I think it's very true. There's so many business owners and entrepreneurs who it can feel lonely a little bit, and they need people to come alongside them. Again, people who share their faith, so that we can be better together and have that camaraderie. So I think that's a tremendous thing that you're working on. So you mentioned in multiple countries. So is the outgrowth strategy to focus outside the US? Has there been more thought to it, or is it just kind of wherever opportunities have presented themselves?
Yeah, we let God lead the organization because he's in charge. And so we just say, okay, Lord, what do you want us to do? And he just brings opportunities to us all the time. Word spreads, someone hears us on a podcast or a message on social media gets out and somebody shares it with others. and they say, you know what, we want to start this in our church, and we make it easy for them. We've got turnkey everything. We give them an agenda that they can follow that has a different Bible verse and a thought for the day. And then really it stimulates a mastermind conversation. So we propose different questions that the leader asks so that there's conversation. This isn't stand up and give your commercial like a networking group that you might have been to before. This is about creating fellowship of believers in business. And the other thing that we want to help people do is buy Christian, right? The reality is that in the Muslim faith, a dollar that goes into a Muslim business recycles and recirculates 12 to 14 times. They buy from other Muslims. Same thing in the Jewish faith, it's about 12 times for every dollar. But as Christians, the number is 0.84, is 84 cents. And so people aren't intentional about investing their dollars into other Christian businesses. And that's one of the things we want to raise the awareness of and then help facilitate more partnership and cross promotion within believers in business in the local church.
Yeah, those stats, we've talked about that a number of times on this podcast. And so you are absolutely preaching to the choir on that. And it's a definite thing for us to all be aware of and be more mindful.
Yeah. I mean, we, as some people who have worked on the highest level of government, and you see where in a campaign, how influential successful business people are on the political process. And so there's a wonderful blessing when a person of faith can be that person, right? And one of the ways for us to help that is to support other people of faith in their business pursuits. And so I think that's powerful. But from the first time you told me about it, I feel the need as a Christian in business to find other Christians in business I can talk to. And there's plenty of people in business I can talk to. That's not hard. And there's plenty of Christians I can talk to. But finding that group is challenging, and it leaves a certain gap in that sort of thing. And, for pastors and other people at church, I can understand our pastors talked about money, but it's mostly in the context of tithing, which we talked about before, which is something as all church members should be doing. But, he doesn't get up and talk about how do you handle an employee HR issue. And those are the kinds of things that we Christian business owners deal with every day. How do you handle somebody who's done something wrong? Do you forgive him? Do you fire him? Do you give him a second chance or a third chance? And those are challenges I think business owners got to learn from each other. And it's also powerful when we can learn from other Christian business owners because we all handle things. I think we should be handling things differently than our counterparts. So it's an exciting ministry that you're up to.
Yeah, and we were part of a roundtable years ago where we talked about those things, and it was very valuable. So again, we have personal experience knowing the impact it can make.
Well, and you think about the biggest donors, all right? If we're going to talk about political spending right now, where does that money come from? It comes from entrepreneurs. It comes from creators of commerce and business owners. And so it's so important, right? A lot of business leaders don't think that they're running a ministry, but they are. If you're a leader, your team is watching everything you do and say. So are you leading like Jesus? Are you creating the example that you want to be famous for? I think about leadership from the standpoint of people are talking about what you're doing and saying, right? If we think about our current political leadership, there's been a massive shift, and there's a lot of people that are talking about our president as the leader that he is in comparison to the last leader that we had. The leadership styles were very different. So what do you want to be famous for at the end of the day? And what do you want people talking about your business and also your personal legacy? So you have an opportunity to lead your clients, your customers, but also your team and your staff. And you never know the impact that you can create by being that amazing, empowered leader and leading like Jesus.
Yeah.
It's 100% right. And ultimately, that is what we are called to do, is ultimately point people to him. And so at the end of the day, after everything else has settled, that is the most important thing we can do.
Well, as we end, it's time for the Liberty Spenders lightning round. Theme music to be determined.
Come on, I'm pumped, Kurt.
Yes,
I've been waiting for this.
We're very excited. We like to do 3 quick questions and challenge people to answer them in 90 seconds each. But there's no
Okay.
buzzer. There's no taboo buzzer we'll be hitting, but we'll try it. Um, if you could go back and talk to Brandon Barnum at age 20, what encouragement or warning would you give him?
Yeah. Stay the course. Be patient. Things take longer than you think they will. They cost more than you expect that they will. But stay focused on your passion and your purpose and keep driving to create as much impact as possible.
I like it. Less
30
than 90
seconds,
seconds.
Kurt. 30
That's
Yeah.
seconds.
right.
So now we can add 60 seconds on to our second
Oh, yeah.
question, which
More
is
time on the clock? Okay, great.
yeah. So what would be a something that's kind of got your interest these days, but it isn't
Oh,
related to your business or your ministry or raving referrals, something that maybe
yeah.
it's a hobby, sports team, book you're reading. What's got your interest?
You know what I can't stop watching is The Chosen. I freaking love this. I drive around and I put it as kind of the background music instead of listening to music. I'll just listen to The Chosen, and it's incredible. And just yesterday, Mark Victor Hansen, my mentor, says, "Hey, I've got the producer of The Chosen coming out there doing this big event on Palm Sunday. I want to make sure you're there. But also, if you want to do a second event, they're open to hosting a big event in Phoenix." I'm like, I've watched the whole series 4 times so far. I can't wait for season 5 to come out. So that's my addiction at the moment. is The
Yeah.
That's
Chosen.
raving
Yes.
fan right
That
there.
is great. Now I've read the book. I've read the book. I need to see the movie. Right.
So it's not a
But
movie. It is a series.
He's
It's an
kidding.
Okay.
Sorry, he's kidding.
Right.
Every time somebody talks about Chosen, that's my joke.
That's
I've
his
read
joke,
the
yeah.
book, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Sorry, you don't know him well enough. I'm sorry. I had to save you. That's Kurt's
Thank
humor
you.
right there.
Thanks for saving me, Kristen.
but no, that's exciting. I've been so excited about The Chosen because
Ooh.
it's an entertaining and really great quality telling of the most important story ever.
Yeah.
And I hear so many people talking about it. And what's also fascinating is the fact that The Chosen not just is it telling the greatest story ever told, but it's also done in an innovative way
Yeah.
from a business standpoint and how they've raised money and gotten it
Yeah.
funded. And I think it's a really fascinating story that touches both of those things. But not to get it, I can't cut you short on your third 90-second question. This one will be easier for you.
Okay.
And that is, I like to give people one 90-second gratuitous marketing moment, right? So this is the pitch slap you could do right here, right
I don't
now.
even know how to do that, Kurt. I don't pitch slap.
Yeah. And I can't smell commission breath through the camera, but the question is, give a 90-second for HOA.com, or maybe you want to choose CBA. What would be 90-second pitch for somebody listening?
Yeah. So number one, if you want to connect with me, check out brandonbarnum.com. You can go find out what I'm up to and see some of the opportunities to partner with me and the companies that we're creating. If you're a professional who serves homeowners, go to HOA.com. You'll see a Become a Pro button up at the top right. You're welcome to apply. We do background checks. We'd love to have you as part of the community. If you really want to win more business by serving the community and being famous for serving the community, we've got an incredible way. It doesn't take much time. It's really automated community co-marketing, which has never existed before. It's super cool. Join the movement. And then on the Christian Business Alliance, if you want to get connected, and especially if you see yourself as a leader, you want to be a leader, we're looking for leaders that we can partner with to go make a difference in your local church. So go to thecba.org, check it out. You can read our statement of faith to make sure that you align and that this is an organization that you can be proud to be a part of. But we're looking for people that want to lead and disciple others and just get connected with other believers in business so that you do life together, have more fun, and be in a faith-filled conversation where you make money, but you make a difference as well.
He's got the 90 seconds down. I bet he beaten every one of them. But thank you so much, Brandon, for joining. It's been great to get to know you both before all of this, but also to talk to you on today's podcast. For those of you who want to get in touch with Brandon, he mentioned it already. Hit him up at brandonbarnum.com. You can also check out HOA.com. and thecba.org. So plenty of places to go find and stalk Brandon and learn more about what he's up to. And Raving Referrals, right? Ravingreferrals.com is another place they can go learn more about your book.
Yeah, if you go to brandonbarnum.com, it's actually a subpage of ravingreferrals.com. So I'm pointing you in the right direction.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you so much for being on.
Yeah, we've really enjoyed it. You have so much value to add and so much to share. And so, again, this was just jam packed with insights. For those of you listening, thanks for tuning in. We know your time is precious. If you have found value in this episode, please remember to like and subscribe. Drop us a review. It really helps us reach other people. And again, we invite you to join us at Liberty Partnership Community and learn more about this powerful market of Liberty spenders. And right now, you can get access to our book on that topic at libertyspenders.com/free. Until next time.